नमस्ते दोस्तों, कैसे हो आप लोग? वेलकम टू अट्यून्ड विद 80, द हाई टेक दुनिया filled with swag and tech का तड़का. I am your host, Arijeet Talapatra, CEO of itel. Today, we are diving into the tech universe like straight into a Bollywood blockbuster. In 2024, podcast isn't a buzzword, it's a rage. And guess what? We are into heart of democratizing technology, and that is our core mission. From the streets of Mumbai to a village in Uttar Pradesh, itel has been committed to make technology accessible to every Indian by offering power-packed devices at budget-friendly prices. We are bridging the digital divide and empowering individuals across the nation. But it's not just about making technology accessible. It's all about understanding the pulse of the Indian market. So, welcome to Attuned with 80 at One Stop Tech Gyan Ki Dukaan. In every episode, we are diving into the tech world, breaking down the coolest global tech innovations and exploring how India is not just keeping up with it, but also rocking the tech game. Forget boring specs and launches. We are all about how tech is making the real difference in people's lives. Whether it's capturing stunning photos in any condition or staying connected with your loved ones on video calls. We are spilling the beans on how tech is adding the tadka to our talks, entertainment, padhai, business, policies, the daily drama of the Indian youth. आज हमारा पहला एपिसोड है और आज के गेस्ट हैं एक रॉकस्टार राजीव aka टेक मखनी.
Very interesting introduction. लेकिन मेरा real attraction was when I heard कि आप ये करने वाले हो. You and me have spent a lot of time, usually on stage, कोई introduction to a new phone or a launch or something like that, and then the half an hour. लेकिन today I think we'll come to know each other really, really well.
Absolutely.
So I'm very happy to be here.
Great to have you here, Rajiv.
बिल्कुल. So Arijeet, बहुत interesting है that you're doing something like this. I think it's something you should have, आपने बहुत पहले शुरू करना चाहिए था. But you know, now that you're doing it right now, I think this is going to be a great success. I can't wait to really understand and get into what all we're going to talk about today.
Before we start and have a lot of discussions around, I would like to compliment you. You're looking like awesome, dapper.
Okay, thank you. I especially done it for you.
So, tell me one thing that you dislike in the fashion trend today.
I think, like you said, it's also going to be predominantly about Gen Z and everything else. I love everything about Gen Z. I think it's a very interesting generation hai. They have their thought process and everything else, very focused, right? But one thing about their fashion trends that I don't understand is that I know comfort is important, but comfort taken to the level ke almost they wear jhalla clothes almost. For them it's like everything must be super comfortable. When you see the same people out in the evening for a party, they are dressed to kill. But if you see them in the daytime, आपको almost लगता है कि यार देखो नाइट सूट में कहाँ जा रहे हो तुम यार, घर से बाहर मत जाओ ऐसे. Their need for comfort, I think, surpasses everything. तो वो थोड़ा सा ना डाइकोटमी, बट दिस जनरेशन वैसे ही बड़ी डाइकोटमी इनमें. दे डू एवरीथिंग इन एक्सट्रीम्स. चाहे उनका कैंसल कल्चर देख लो, इट्स स्विंग्स फ्रॉम वन साइड टू द अदर. इवन देयर फैशन ट्रेंड्स, ईदर दे विल बी ड्रेस्ड टू किल एंड देन दे डोंट केयर अबाउट कंफर्ट, but otherwise all day they want give us, I should be lounge clothing, I think, or terms that they use. I think that's where. But you know, it's interesting that you started off with one of these, you know, getting to know me better. But the game is more fun if we play it together, right? Perfect. So I have a question back for you. अगर आप सिर्फ एक ही चीज खा सकते थे for the rest of your life, what would you eat for the rest of your life?
Difficult one, because I love to eat. But one thing which I can eat remaining 365 days into the number of years,
okay,
I love seafood.
Oh, actually, you.
And
Okay.
I'm a sea person. I love seafood.
Okay.
So seafood is something I can even have for breakfast, lunch, dinner.
And if you had to eat it for the rest of your life, you would be very happy.
So many varieties available within that.
Wow. I think I have a similar feeling for ice cream. The only thing is that I don't eat too much of it. But if there was no negative to ice cream, I can eat it for breakfast, lunch and dinner, pre-snack before breakfast, post-snack after breakfast and through the day. I love it so much, right? Okay, so this is great. So we should do some more of this before we get started. Chalo,
Absolutely.
you can ask me a question. Okay.
Investment is something which is so important to the Gen Z.
Right.
So, what is that if you go back and think that you're 22 years old?
Okay.
What is that one thing you would like to redo in your investment?
So you basically want me to go back 1 year. I think it's very interesting. आपने जो बोला ना ये बहुत ज़रूरी है. ये जो generation है, they are not so much into creating assets, right? They are very happy कि I don't need to buy a huge house. I can rent it. I can do, when I go abroad, I can do Airbnb. Why should I invest into something like this? They're okay with not buying a big flashy car because they're like, kya zarurat hai? I have Ola, I have Uber. But they all have ambition to become very big and make a lot of money. It's ingrained in them. You're seeing the kind of young startups, founders that are 18 years, 20 years. There's this whole thing to change the world and also do well for yourself, right? But investment is very important. And they understand that you don't have to only park your money in a bank, or you don't have to really just do an FD or buy insurance, जो कि एक conventional thought process होता था. If I could go back and talk to my 21, 22-year-old, I would just say one sentence, and that would be, something called cryptocurrency will come, invest in it big time. और इतना sentence बोल के मैं वहाँ से निकल जाता, because I think stocks, value investing, index investing and all of that is all okay. But ये जो value investing from Warren Buffett and all, it worked for them because there were very few people who were investing. They were able to see opportunities. Now with the kind of technology and everything, it's very difficult कि मेरे को एक ऐसी company मिलेगी जो कि will eventually go and become a Coca-Cola, will eventually become a Microsoft, will eventually become an Apple. The discovery is very quick. So I'll just tell myself कि Bitcoin मिलेगा तुम्हारे को कुछ cents के लिए और वो जाएगा to about $70,000-80,000 each. रख लेना.
True. Absolutely.
So I think the whole idea being that this is a generation that gets technology and cryptocurrency and Bitcoining and the entire idea of blockchain is very tech, and they get it. It's not difficult for them to understand what they're in. What about you? If you could go back to your 21-year-old and you had one sentence to quickly say, and then you were transported back, what advice would you give your 21-year-old?
Very similar to what you have told. Apart from that, I would also, being little traditional, maybe I will want them to invest in certain blue chip shares and then forget it for the next 5 to 10 years.
Buy and do not think.
Do not think.
Do not look at it.
If you keep on checking it every month, the differential will be very less and you may rethink your decision.
Absolutely. I think both of us together can give one piece of advice to all Gen Z: day trading mat kar.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's the best way. Like they say, what's the easiest way to become a millionaire? Is to start by being a billionaire. Day trading में भी यही है कि eventually only the market wins.
Absolutely.
You can't win. So day trading मत करो. They are very attracted to this very quick app and ये खरीद लिया कर लिया. Don't do that. You cannot win.
10%, 20% growth in a day. These things don't work.
So that quick mountain and that quick reaching the top floor, you still have to take the staircase.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So now you asked me about investment. Let me ask you about something else that I find very, very interesting. Right? You and me have had these private conversations. You told me once that for you a big passion is traveling.
Absolutely.
Let's twist it. Okay. If you could travel anywhere in the world, एक ही जगह होनी चाहिए, with anybody, वो भी एक ही person होना चाहिए. It could be someone that is alive or not alive, right? Who would you travel with and where would you travel?
Rajiv, I lost my mother last month.
Oh, achha.
I traveled with her a lot of places.
Okay.
But one thing I missed is taking her to Switzerland. She always wanted to go there. So one place which I always would want to spend maybe a month with her is traveling across Switzerland, getting off, getting in one station, getting off the another station, walking, having a coffee, again boarding a train. So
that is
in
wonderful.
my dreams, I'm doing that. Maybe I should have done it earlier.
I think I'm sure, with all the travel you've already done with her, she will be very happy. I went all these bad, but Switzerland actually is right. I think हम लोग सबके parents में ये था because movies में उनके time के movies में अगर कुछ भी abroad जाते थे तो Switzerland होता था, right? So I think that becomes a huge fantasy for all that generation. So I think that's a really really good one. But if you don't know this, you don't know Gen Z at all because ये उनका तकिया कलाम है for everything. If you were to send a message to a Gen Z and the person replied back to you saying IDC, what do they mean?
I get this reply from my daughter regularly. I don't care.
I don't care. ये तो इस generation का literally tagline है. Hashtag I don't care.
Anything and everything is I don't care.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great generation. I think if you're starting our discussion about them.
Now talking about the Gen Zs, you know, these folks are practically, they breathe in memes. So survive on avocado toast. हम avocado toast कितना खाते थे? And they download emojis faster than even I unlock my phone. So they are so fast. So these people are actually tech wizards. So I want to know that what is the world for them? And tech for them is like a BFF. Correct?
बिल्कुल, absolutely. I think, see, ये पहला generation है that has no intimidation of technology. हम लोग के लिए कुछ भी हम लोग करते थे, we had to learn that technology. ये वो generation है, they were born with this. उनका शायद पहला toy, when they were actually born and they were in a cradle, would be the parents का कोई phone होगा, they touched the screen, वो on हो गया, bright colors came out, that was their first toy, right? Absolutely. So, and जैसे जैसे नई नई चीज़ें आती हैं, they don't think tech has to be learnt. It is inculcated. They just move to it. तो कोई fear नहीं है, कोई intimidation नहीं है. Technology is बिल्कुल जो आपने कहा, absolute best friend forever. And this is how they will continue. इनको कोई, we went from maybe a rotary phone to a pager, to a non-smartphone, to a smartphone, to any of the other things. हम लोग को एक एक level पे सीखना पड़ा. इनको कोई सीख की ज़रूरत नहीं है. This is something that it's a natural extension of who they are.
Absolutely. Can't agree with you more.
This is a generation that doesn't care much about legacy. आप उनको बोल दो ये 70 साल पुरानी कंपनी है, इन्होंने ये किया. They say, I don't care. What can it do for me? What can it do for the world? We are very conscious about the world, the environment, what is right, what is wrong. बड़े righteous होते हैं, right? So the question that they will ask is, what can this company do for me? What can this brand do for me? What is it doing to save the world? What is it doing to take my life to the next level? What could I not do before that I can do with you, right? They don't care that you did something great 2 years back. Absolutely. Their question is, what can you do for me right now? Which is a great way to live because you cannot build on tradition. Marketing saying, we are a 100-year-old company. They'll be like, अरे ये तो बड़ी पुरानी बकवास company है. I love that attitude because it's what you can do right now. Which is why I think for a brand like yours, it is such a great opportunity for you to be able to do something. Yes, you have to be on your toes all the time because they will ask you to reinvent yourself. बार हर रोज आपको कुछ नया करना पड़ेगा. If you are only doing evolutionary things, incremental things, they will ask you, इतना ही है, that's it. And they are jaded by technology very quickly. उनको बहुत बड़ा कोई invention दिखा दो, I will be like frothing in the mouth saying, wow, and they'll be like, हाँ ठीक है. Not too bad because for them it's not a big thing.
Absolutely.
Right? So you've seen big things come from big companies and fail because Gen Z says it's not something very, very interesting, right? Yeah, this reality is very important, and which is why I see great opportunities for your brand, for your products. कि अगर आप उनको अभी कुछ दे सकते हो, that is a big game changer. Like इनके lexicons कितने अलग हैं, right? Like for instance, if you and me were to talk about a word like TikTok, we'd first think of a watch, but they will think of an app.
Absolutely.
Right? For them, there's a joke that I always speak about when I speak with Gen Z. ये वो generation है that when they go for a run, and let's say they fall, and they hear something break, they'll say, I hope it's not my phone, it's my bone, right? The technology is that important to them, right? why do they love that technology? Because it does something for them. It helps them to communicate. अपने दोस्तों के साथ एक individuality है उनकी, that they are able to express out there, they are able to portray themselves better. तो brands that can actually live up to their expectations, उनकी expectations बहुत high हैं, but if you can live up to that expectation, बहुत बड़ा फर्क पड़ता है.
Completely, you hit the bull's eye with this observation. जिसको swag बोलते हैं ना, so what actually qualifies as swag for them, we also don't understand. Maybe at times it is a strap of a smartwatch, a display or a back cover of a mobile, a TWS. So what is the recent tech swag that really makes this Gen Z crazy actually?
I have to say ये बहुत ही interesting सवाल है, because decode करना what is swag for a generation may be the most difficult thing. लेकिन with Gen Z it's not that difficult, because जैसे मैंने कहा, इनके अंदर एक बहुत individuality है. They all are together, but they all also must stand out. They must be able to talk about कि this is who I am. वो recognition that each of them is an individual with a different thought process, a different point of view. ये बहुत ज़रूरी है उनके लिए. That is why you see different colors. एक time पे there used to be a company even like yours could release a phone in 5 colors, लेकिन आपका बिकना black ही था, right? Or others would be mainly for marketing. But today, you can come out with colors, and if you don't, you know you will fail, right? कुछ अलग करना पड़ता है. Why? Because Gen Z will take to those colors, right? Previous generations played safe, they will not, right? That's why covers are important. A little strap hanging is very important. Something that they are doing with their clothes is very, very important. तो इनकी जो individuality है, which is, I think, a very interesting phenomena. If you can give them both identity and individuality, without it being boring, I think that's their swag. To be able to stand out without being gimmicky, without being over the top. I think this is not a generation that is, it's not the Bappi Lahiri generation of gold chains and purple suits, or a Govinda of, green jacket and red pant, right? I mean, they can pull it off, and some of them do, but they are doing it with swag, with individuality. So I think even in technology, I think जो सबसे important चीज़ जो मैं देखता हूँ कि if you don't make it gimmicky, for instance, as I said, gimmicks नहीं. अगर आप टेक्नोलॉजी में जो आप फीचर्स दे रहे हो, if you can give them a truly better camera that can actually do something for them rather than just playing the इसमें ये सेंसर है, इसमें ये मेगापिक्सल है, इसमें ये कर दिया. Tech specs don't excite them. The actual experience excites them, right? तो opportunity बहुत है इस market में, and the best part, they are experimental. They will give you a shot.
Completely agree. Actually, wearables are the new superheroes for them. And this Gen Z, they want spotlight and they are crazy about it. And they actually want a rocking smartwatch, TWS. And these people are fitness freak. If I see the Gen Z, the amount of time and energy they spend on fitness, we never thought about it.
Absolutely. Well, because again, they come from the parents who stuck to fitness in maybe the second half of their life. But they grew up with the fact that they are seeing fitness all around, right? I think it's a very, very good phenomena. I think a complete generation that is going to be fitter, better, more conscious of their health, ये बहुत ज़रूरी चीज़ है, right? और आप बिल्कुल ठीक कह रहे हो कि wearables is becoming very, very critical, because इनके लिए smartphone is only a device, not the device. ये एक बहुत important criteria है which many brands and many different companies are not understanding, कि हमारे लिए the smartphone was the it device. For them, they take the smartphone for granted. Now they want to know what else can they do with it. So a smartwatch बहुत important. लेकिन I think सबसे important चीज़ ये हो जाती है कि ये जो है ना, इनके लिए prime real estate है.
Absolutely.
They are not going to give up their wrist for just a smartwatch. कि वो ठीक है, जो मेरे फ़ोन में है थोड़ा बहुत और वहाँ पे दिखा देगा, वो थोड़ा सा फ़ोन के साथ कनेक्ट करके कुछ और कर देगा. that smartwatch has to earn its place on their wrist. कि और क्या क्या कर पाएगा. Their TWS earbuds must be able to do X and Y. Sharing is a very important thing for them. You know, ये हम लोग का होता था कि हम लोग जाके अपने कमरे में बैठ के म्यूजिक सुनते थे. ये लोग हर चीज़ शेयर करते हैं, प्लेलिस्ट शेयर करते हैं, म्यूजिक एक साथ सुनना उनको बहुत पसंद है. So when they have TWS earbuds also, it must be of the kind that they can all enjoy and say, which one are you using? Let me try it. There's a lot of give and take in this generation, जो कि बहुत important है, which is why when you share something, it has to be really good. You should not be embarrassed by it, right? अगर I am wearing a particular kind of TWS earbud and the other person is wearing something and that person is wearing something which is of a poor quality, there is a hierarchy which is like, this guy doesn't really get tech very well. He's compromising on the experience. Experience is, like I said, paramount for them.
Absolutely.
So I think ये बड़ी important learnings हैं, and I think I'm also learning as I go. I'll tell you a very interesting thing that happened, and उसके बाद मेरा एक counter question आपके लिए, because you're actually traveling the whole world and especially India, and you must be getting so many stories back. But I'll tell you a very interesting story that happened at an airport. This lady came up, must be at least 70, 75, very, very beautiful, all white grey hair. And she started walking towards me and bola, chalo, must be, I'm going to ask for a selfie or something like that. And she came and she screamed at me. So I was like, hey, to ulta hi ho gaya hai, selfie ho gaya. She said, because of you, I lost 20,000 rupees. So I said, how? So she said, for the last 15 years, Rajiv, jo bhi product maine kharida hai, I have looked at your review and only then bought. और 15 साल से you have never gone wrong. And she took out a phone, I'll not talk about which brand it was. And she said, ये कितना बेकार phone है, and you said it's very, very good. Now it turned out to be, it's a great brand, and it was a great phone, but उनको जो मिला, once in a blue moon you get a lemon, right? वो phone में problem थी. In fact, I also got the phone replaced for her. But it taught me a very big lesson. She in her conversation, अब आप देखो 2-3 चीजें जो एक साथ हुई, which was such a big learning for me. Learning number 1 क्या थी कि people are saving up. There could be, she came from a very good family, so it's all great. But she gave me an example कि her teenage granddaughter saved up money over a period of 7 months. 7 months, and then bought a phone, which she was very happy. And the grandmother said कि खरीदने से पहले राजीव का वीडियो देख लेना इसके बारे, right? It made me understand 77-year-old grandmother is also buying technology after studying it. She is not asking her son, her grandson, decision वो खुद ले रही है, right? वो अपनी granddaughter को advice दे रही है, जिसने पैसे बचाए कि ऐसे वैसे मत खरीद लेना, get some informed opinion. फिर granddaughter ने खरीदा, right? It tells you that the technology world today starts off at about 7 years old and goes to maybe 87 or maybe even 90. वो लोग जो अपने आप decision ले रहे हैं, not based on अच्छा मेरे लड़के ने मेरे को खरीद दिया, अच्छा ही होगा. That's how you normally think of people over the age of 70, 80, right? And so is a 16-year-old. They are going deep into what can this do for me, right? It was a big lesson for me कि एक तो age doesn't matter, and second, the younger generation is going more in depth, saving more money to buy better tech.
Absolutely.
पहले तो most of us would be what? We get fascinated and seduced by ये नया phone है, यही खरीद लो. वो 6-7 महीने से पैसे जोड़ रही थी to buy the best. And I thought that was wonderful to know कि ये generation और दूसरी generation में फ़र्क क्या है. I think दोनों चीज़ें जो आपने बताई है ना is both something to be proud of and also something to be worried about. You can make दुनिया का सबसे interesting best product, लेकिन in this very noisy environment जहाँ पे every day there is a new phone coming out, यहाँ पे बहुत mental fatigue है for customers कि क्या लें, right? While you can be proud of the fact that your brand is doing very, very good work, with value for money being the most important. Also, I think जो मुझे बहुत पसंद है about your brand is that you are taking away pain points. Every time आपका कोई product आता है, always see, अच्छा ये तो बड़ा interesting है, like you have a screen replacement guarantee. You have 2 years warranties, right? ये सारे के सारे pain points हैं. and you've recognized them, and you're being able to do it at price points जो कि flagship level कोई नहीं दे रहा है, right? Screen replacement is a very unknown phenomena. Some brands will do it, but only for the very expensive phones. 2-year warranty, ज़्यादा brands के पास अभी guts नहीं है to do it, right? So you're recognizing this. But how do you communicate this to the right audience?
Absolutely.
So that's what I'm saying. While you should be proud of it, you should also be very worried कि ये communicate कैसे करें? How do I get this message to the people that matter? I think that communication should be your primary motive now. कि ये information हम लोग ने dispense कैसे करनी है? So I have one more thing that I wanted to find out. तो हम लोग Gen Z के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं. Like I saw that you're taking away pain points. Is there a particular feature जो आपने डाला है? And I want to talk to you about your future portfolio also, because मुझे लग रहा है कि I've been eyeing that watch of yours for quite a while. So I want to talk about it. कि is that पता नहीं, is it your brand, some other brand? But whatever it is, it's looking phenomenal, because हम लोग यहाँ पे studio type of lighting में हैं, and 2-3 times that screen has come on. And in such bright light also, I can see that the screen is super bright. So we'll come to that. I'm hoping you'll say it's yours. कि आपने किसी और का brand नहीं पहना हुआ. But in this entire जो episode है of you taking away pain points, are you doing something specific for a younger audience? Can you give me one example of something that is specific for almost what a Gen Z can really use from your entire portfolio?
See, the portfolio, we are there for everyone, but especially for the Gen Z, like you spoke about this watch.
पहले बताओ ना आप, is this from your brand?
This is absolutely.
We don't know that you have smart watches coming. So first of all, everybody, this is the big one happening right now. Now I'm moving from the person on a podcast to my tech journalism roots. You're seeing this for the first time. This is big.
Super AMOLED. Okay. This is N2, 1000 nits.
1000 nits brightness.
Yes.
No wonder you can see it so clearly. So this is more light than sunlight right now out here, right? And you can maybe you can just do this and show it to that camera. Look at that brightness. Look at that brightness. That is quite incredible.
This is the 5th day I'm wearing this watch. My battery is at 35% now. And I do
so that means around say 7-8 days. That means if I get it right, 5 days may you've consumed 65%.
Yes.
That means this should last you approximately 2 days more or less, right? So 7 days.
7 days of battery life, and this is something that I'm using for the last 2 months because I wanted to test this watch. This should be our flagship watch.
Okay.
Different metallic colors.
Right.
So at times, most of the smart watches don't come with metallic.
Yes, they come with silicone bands or.
Now we are also coming up with a unique feature wherein we are coming up with a smart watch which also can be worn as a locket.
Oh. Hey,
a pendant. Can you see that?
Does anybody have it around?
It's a pendant and we are giving a chain with it.
Wow. So see, ये हुआ ना कि again you are giving more utility, especially to Gen Z that wants to be recognized for their individuality. The person who's going to wear a watch as jewelry will really be having something. So are you announcing when these are coming out? कब launch हो रहे हैं?
These all will be launched within this quarter.
अच्छा, within this quarter.
Within this quarter, and good part about itel is we are there very deep in offline, and as you know, we always say we democratize technology, taking technology to the masses. So the price points also that we will bring will really surprise the consumers.
Okay, I'm really looking forward to it because ये आपके लिए एक brand new category है.
Absolutely.
और ये वो category है that Gen Z really wants.
बहुत तेजी से बढ़ रहा है, और इस category में Gen Zs are very particular about, because they are also health freaks, that every vital that this monitors, they check with 3-4 watches. That is the vital right or wrong.
Correct. मैं हमेशा अपने रिव्यूज में बोलता हूँ, अगर एक स्मार्ट वॉच में सेंसर्स मीडियोकर होंगे, then it's not a smart watch, it's a very dumb watch. If it cannot tell you the number of steps you took, amount of distance, your actual heart rate when you are working out and all of that, what is the idea of wearing that smartwatch? It's a completely dumb idea. So I think this is wonderful that you actually have. Is there some new phone also that is coming
Yes,
up? Okay.
this one. This is the S24. We are
Oh, acha, your S series, okay.
S series phone. absolutely premium series.
Wow.
It has a 45 watt fast charging.
Okay.
108 megapixel camera. This segment does have a 108 megapixel camera. And again, this price point that we will bring will be crazy for the consumers.
And this again is in this quarter.
This quarter.
So smartwatches are coming out, your new range of phones are coming out.
TWS is coming on. Lot of varieties of TWS, colorful, voice cancellation. Because a smartwatch, a smartphone and a TWS, it's a extremely good combination for us.
ये तो ecosystem है अब. This is what people are looking forward to. I think it's very interesting that you're putting all these things together in a brand new format. Again, जो pain points है. Battery life is a big pain point.
Correct.
Gen Z के लिए most frustrating है. I'll tell you why I believe smartwatches have not gone to the level that they should have is mainly because of battery life. We grew up with watches where charging a watch तो हम लोग ने आज तक सोचा नहीं था कभी नहीं. पहन लिया भूल गए, you know. एक ad होता था fill it, shut it, forget it. हमारे लिए watches भी वही होती थी, right? कि wear it and you're done, right? It just carries on, right? ये जो entire idea है हर रोज रात को, you know, कभी-कभी दिन में 2 बारी charge करना. It has become the biggest reason why people are actually went to a smartwatch, abandoned it and came back to mechanical watches.
It same happened with me as well.
Right. Okay.
Because every alternate day you can't charge. Once you want to go to office or for a run, phone is not charged, you're fed up.
Yeah, it's absolutely, and it frustrates you कि आप एक दिन भूल गए रात को, you've gone to sleep, you wake up in the morning, you don't have time now, उसको 2 घंटे लगाने हैं, you leave it at home because why wear a dead watch, right? And थोड़े दिनों बाद you say छोड़ो drawer में डाल दो, right? And that is what has happened with a lot of smartwatches. I'm very glad कि ये pain point. दूसरा pain point is exactly this. 90% of the time you will check a smartwatch either outdoor or in bright sunlight. और उस time पे you're trying to squint and see what is it showing. Bright, this one has is absolutely another pain point you have taken away. Third, आपने जो बोला, sensors have to be accurate, otherwise it's a dumb watch. I will never wear something. A lot of people I know, अब ये मेरा अपना experience है, वो बोलते हैं कि हम लोग स्टोर में जाते हैं, तो हम बोलते हैं स्मार्ट वॉच हम पहनेंगे, हम शॉप में ही 50-60 स्टेप्स लेते हैं. अगर वो हमारे को 51 दिखा देगी तो ठीक है, वो अगर हमारे को 60 या 40 दिखाएगी, हम लोग बोलते हैं रखो जी. We don't want it because that's really the whole idea, right? And then I think in India, Bluetooth calling is an important factor,
yes,
right? So I hope it has that.
Absolutely.
It has Bluetooth calling. Okay.
All the basic features, everything is there.
Okay.
All the fitness features it has. Extremely good display.
That we've
also
already
amazing
seen.
Battery, metallic, very light. Because if you're going for a run and all, it cannot be a heavy watch.
Right.
It has to be a light watch. So we are doing a lot around consumers, and as I said in the beginning, it's not only the busy streets of Mumbai, maybe the rural markets of UP, we are there everywhere.
और वहाँ पे I have especially started seeing this as another very interesting thing that is coming out of all. You know, मेरा कोई अगर video आता है, whether it's on YouTube or it's on Instagram or even anything that comes out on the shows that I do, सबसे बड़ा फायदा है is that I have a lot of interactivity. I actually, मेरा एक simple rule है, for everything that goes out, first 100 comments को I always answer myself.
Absolutely.
This is something that I have done from the time I did my first TV show. जो emails आती थी, I used to sit and reply to everybody. So it's become part of my way. इससे one of the things that has happened is I get incredible feedback. आप देखो, most of my videos get between 7 to 10,000 comments, right? And that's only because people realize that I am answering them back and I'm giving them advice. Buying advice हो, I even tell them what not to buy. मेरे को तो लोग अब जो है एक नया term use हो रहा है मेरे लिए. Most of them are influencers. I'm being called an uninfluencer. क्योंकि ये बोलते हैं ये ज़्यादा लोगों को बताता है ये मत खरीदो, then ये खरीदो, which is I think great. So that's the responsibility I have, right? तो उसमें जो feedback आता है, one of the feedback I'm giving you right now, which you're already talking about, बहुत interesting चीज़ ये है that a lot of people from small towns have both the appetite and the budget for good tech, but there is no brand that is catering to them by making them understand कि ये most of the premium level things are usually, चाहे वो ad हो, चाहे वो उसका explanation हो, चाहे कुछ हो, it's mainly in English.
Absolutely.
Second thing is उसका actual usage क्या है? I think all the smart watches being sold in small towns and rural India are only based on price. And therefore they are getting a very mediocre product. और जो पहला स्मार्ट वॉच कोई खरीद रहा है 1500-1600 रुपए में थिंकिंग कि यही होगा, उनका एक्सपीरियंस इतना पुअर है पहली स्मार्ट वॉच के साथ दैट दे मे गो ऑफ स्मार्ट वॉचेस फॉरएवर सेइंग ये क्या बकवास हमने पहना हुआ है, राइट? कुछ भी ठीक नहीं दे रहा, राइट? द स्क्रीन इज धुंधला सा, सेंसर्स आर रॉन्ग, वो ब्लूटूथ कॉलिंग में हेलो 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 ही हो रहा है, यू कांट हियर द अदर पर्सन. सो द एक्सपीरियंस इज सो पुअर दैट दे आर गोइंग ऑफ स्मार्ट वॉचेस. आई एम वेरी ग्लैड यू आर कमिंग अप विद द प्रीमियम प्रोडक्ट दैट लुक्स प्रीमियम, वर्क्स प्रीमियम, बाकी तो मैं रिव्यू के बाद ही बताऊंगा, वर्क्स प्रीमियम and is able to give them a good listing and they can go offline. वो blind buying नहीं करनी पड़ी कि चलो online खरीद लेंगे फिर देखेंगे, right? I think they can go in, try it out, wear it, see the screen, see the sensors, see that it's good, and it's going to go into towns that have not had this kind of a product. ये बड़ा important है. दूसरा, Gen Z is also very touch and feel. So I'm glad कि ये उनको भी offline जाके वो टेस्ट कर सकते हैं, वो अपने वो 50 steps लेंगे शॉप में ही, टेस्ट करेंगे कि हाँ 50 दे रहा है कि 70 दे रहा है कि कुछ बिल्कुल गलत दे रहा है. And I think एक और बहुत important चीज़, sorry Gen Z, I'm going to say this about you, sleep is very important to them. उनकी sleep interrupt करना, I have a Gen Z daughter, तो I know कि I can do many things, but to wake her up in the morning is something I dread. तो मेरे को अगर बताया जाता है, my wife says go wake her up, there is terror in my body, क्योंकि उसको जाके उठाना is one of the most difficult things in the world because they really like their sleep.
Absolutely.
And they really like tracking their sleep. Did I get calm, good sleep? What was my REM? मेरा deep sleep कितना था? मैं 7-8 घंटे ठीक से सोई हूँ कि नहीं? They love tracking it. So I'm very glad that all this thing is being done by you. You're really taking that forward. And I think Gen Z will come out the winner for this. Arijeet, I have one thing that I want to ask. You know, I know एक आधे आपके और सवाल होंगे about this whole market. But I also want to talk to you about something जो मेरे को लगता है एक बहुत important factor आ रहा है. And that is, at the moment, अगर आप देखो, we were talking about investment, right? आज most of the investments, the largest chunk of investment is going into AI, right? Correct. हर तरीके का AI, marketing AI, gimmicky AI, the kind of product जिसमें कोई AI नहीं है लेकिन वो AI use कर रहे हैं so that people are attracted to the whole idea, and then some great AI, right? Do you believe कि now from here onwards, maybe after 3 months, 6 months, almost all technology sold will have to have some form of real good solid AI in it, from phones to smartwatches to TVs to refrigerators to microwaves to home appliances. हर चीज़ में AI की ज़रूरत है कि कुछ चीज़ों को छोड़ दें. Like एक बड़ा भारी मजाक है कि माइक्रोवेव में भी AI है, right? Is it moving towards too much AI and gimmicks, or you think it is the right path?
Actually, it is technology and AI is the truth going ahead.
Okay.
So everything will have AI irrespective of the price point. All the smart gadgets that you use will know you better than you.
वो कहते हैं ना, first we had to work to make technology work. Now technology will finally work for us automatically. It will recognize who you are, what you want, and वही Gen Z है. इसलिए I brought this question in. Right in the beginning, what did we talk about? They want things to work for them.
Absolutely.
And AI will make that happen. I'm very glad कि you also feel that, because some brands are anti-AI, कि हम डाल देंगे as a marketing gimmick. But I'm very glad that, you know, you're heading a brand that actually knows that AI is going to be the final holy grail, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm very glad.
EVs is the way forward. And in many countries, you have driverless cars.
San Francisco में I have sat in a driverless taxi. पहले 3 minute, I don't think I've been more scared in my life. लेकिन 3 minute के बाद, when it was able to give a turn signal, take the right turns, keep the perfect distance, I said, ये तो इंडिया में सबको compulsory डाल देना चाहिए. So at least all rules are kept to, because the AI will not break the rule, right? I mean, unless of course Indian जुगाड़ आ जाएगा कि भाई बटन दबा दिया, अब चलो मैं ही आगे निकलूंगा सबसे.
So AI going forward is the truth.
I think you're absolutely right about that. All right, I think that sounds fantastic. So I think this is quite phenomenal. लेकिन एक और चीज़ जो मेरे mind में आ रही है, which I think is an important one to go through out here, would be at this present moment with where your entire brand is, and the fact that you are now coming into categories that you were not in before, right? At this present moment, do you feel that now the market potential, एक 5G के साथ लोगों को एक impetus मिला था, अब AI के साथ एक और jump और मिल रहा है, right? Do you see the whole market bright and rosy for the next 2 or 3 years, or do you see a slowdown?
India market for the next 5 years extremely bright and rosy.
Okay, great.
Sensex almost 72 to 74. People are saying it will go to 125k. More money will have more empowerment in the hands of consumer. And the best part of our India is rural India is growing. So with rural India growing 40% consumption in less than tier 3 and below markets, so this market is going to boom. It is how well you can reach the consumer, how truthful you can be, and how can you win the mind share and heart share of the Gen Z.
Bilkul. So this is exactly what we spoke about today, and hopefully we solved a little bit of that very incredible generation that this is, right?
Absolutely.
So I think it's been okay. So I'm going to do this very, very quick fire. You told me about what you would eat for the rest of your life. Now I want to find out, okay, if you were given the option between, and there's a reason why I'm asking the question, I'll come to the reason later. If you were given the option to have a time machine or a wish machine, which one would you take? And I'll tell you the reason why after you give me the answer.
Maybe a time machine. And once I have a time machine, a lot of things can be solved.
Including going back to your 21-year-old, including taking your mother to Switzerland, right?
Yes.
So I know that these are the important things. That's why I was actually asking. At the age of 21, if you remember it well at this point, and the technology that we have right now, did you predict any of where we are right now? कि ये सब होगा? Or are we way ahead of even our imagination?
Around when I was 20, 21, there was a movie Back to the Future. There was a car that used to take us to future and past. And once you go back and watch that movie again, there is so much more that has happened than what we envisaged during that time.
Yeah.
So I think we are moving much ahead than what we had thought.
अरिजीत, मैं आपको एक बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग फैक्ट दूं उस मूवी का. I love giving this fact. It had flying cars, it had roller skates that were actually hovering over the ground. Do you know what it didn't have? It didn't have a smartphone.
Yes, absolutely.
Can you imagine almost all technology that is depicted in movies and books before 1995 never had a smartphone? No. You are talking about Star Wars, Star Trek, but none of them use smartphones. Not one of them. It's a very strange phenomena कि जो सबसे important gadget हमारी life में आज है, किसी ने इसको imagine नहीं किया था just 20-25 years back, which is a big shock. So can you imagine what could be the next big thing which none of us are imagining right now at all, because that's how technology has always come about, right?
Completely.
Okay, so that is great. Are you making a prediction for Gen Z के बाद एक और generation आ रही है? the generation of those that are born after 2010.
Correct.
कहते हैं कि ये completely different होगा from Gen Z. Any prediction for them?
They are going to be maybe 10 times more demanding than the Gen Z. Gen Z are slow for them. Right. So we really are gearing up that how to cater them then when they will be our customers soon.
Generation Alpha is going to teach all of us lessons that we did not know were supposed to be learned.
But one thing I've understood, Rajiv, is more time you spend with Gen Alpha and Gen Z, you will be useful in this ecosystem. Otherwise, you're already off it.
I completely agree. Spending time with Gen Z and Gen A or whatever else they will eventually be called, I think is a reboot of every thought process that you have. उनके साथ एक घंटा बैठ के अगर deep thought बातें करो, you come out with the like, oh my God, this generation will rule the world like it has never been. I think they will set the world right also, क्योंकि ये लोग they care about environment, they care about real issues, they don't care about politics. Very, very importantly, they care about the real issues. So I think एक बहुत dramatic change होगा, and I'm glad that your brand recognizes all of that. And as I'm seeing the current portfolio and future portfolio, I think, will be 100% geared for these generations.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for having me on this. This has been wonderful, and I wish you the best of luck. और जब आपका rotation of 12, 13 हो जाएंगे तो मेरे को वापस बुला लेना. We'll celebrate 1 year of this together, and we'll see what predictions came true or not that we did out here.
We were very clear when this team planned to have this podcast. The first guest had to be Rajiv aka Makhni. So
Thank you
we
very
cannot have a tech show without you, and your understanding for everyone, like you said, that lady, and you also say that instead of promoting, if you don't like, you are so truthful for your consumers, because trust is something
I think
that
it's
is
about the only thing that is
epitome
left
for
now.
everything.
Because सबसे बड़ी problem in the world of influencers is that trust is the least that people are looking at. I think it's a very important. ये भी change हो रहा है, बहुत dramatically change हो रहा है. Credibility today is the only thing that will matter in the future.
So absolutely delighted to have you.
Thank you, Arijeet, for having me, and thank you for this very, very great conversation. I think this is truly a no holds barred from the heart conversation, and I really enjoyed myself. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Very insightful. We should certainly be looking into the ways which we balance our lives both online and offline. So to all my Gen Z buddies, let's master the tech game with these awesome hacks. First off, designate tech-free zones during meal times, family hangouts, or bedtime to ensure a good night's sleep. Then activate do not disturb mode to stay focused on tasks without annoying notifications. Make sure to pencil in regular digital detox breaks for some real world fun. Think nature walks or getting lost in a book. And don't forget to grab some wellness apps to help balance screen time with self-care. Remember, tech's a tool, so let's use it wisely and keep life both awesome and balanced, whether we are online or offline. As we conclude today's debut, I want to really thank Rajiv again for sharing many insights which were awesome. Many thanks to our listeners. I request that you all reach out to our social media handles and tell us what consumer technology revolution you want to hear from us going ahead. Looking forward to unfolding these trends on our next episode on Attuned with 80. Thank you.